The following program is furnished by The Truth About Your Future, LLC. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of this station. This information is education and not financial advice. Consult a financial advisor before investing.
The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman is brought to you by Global X ETFs, dedicated to providing investors with unexplored and intelligent solutions. And by Bitwise, a trusted guide in crypto has never mattered more. Connect with their dedicated team of crypto experts nationwide at bitwiseinvestments.com. And by Invesco QQQ, a fund that allows you to access the innovators of the NASDAQ 100, Invesco.com. And by Edelman Financial Engines. Rick Edelman is a board member, consultant, shareholder, and client of EFE. But EFE is unaffiliated and has no say over the content of The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman.
This is where technology, innovation, and personal finance come together.
This is The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman.
And now your host, Rick Edelman.
A happy weekend to you. Coming up on the show today, what is the merge in crypto? A look at the impact of the world's energy crisis. Your favorite automaker is now making NFTs. The mainstreaming of crypto. A new low-cost MRI, it's a game changer. Plus, our health and wellness segment with my wife, Jean Edelman. It is the truth about your future, and one of the biggest truths we're all dealing with these days is the cost of electricity. This is a global crisis, particularly in Europe, where the cost of electricity is up 10x from a year ago. No, not 10%, 10x, which means what used to cost $10 is now $100. People who used to be spending $100 a month on their energy bill are now paying $1,000. The European Commission is trying to solve this dilemma. Energy prices are based on oil and natural gas prices, and we don't have enough oil or natural gas flowing into Europe. It's all because of the war. The Russian government has shut down the oil pipeline. They're strictly reducing the amount of natural gas that they're allowing to flow into Europe. And what they are providing, they're selling for too high a price. The CEO of Shell says Europe is going to have to ration energy for years to come. This is a huge issue, way more expensive than the decade-long average, in line with a 14-fold increase in the cost of gasoline. And the irony of all this, the horrifying part, is that Moscow is now making more money from oil than it did before the war. Russia's pumping almost as much oil as before and selling it for higher prices. Who are the buyers? Pakistan, India, and China, predominantly. Russia has earned $20 billion a month this year selling its oil versus $15 billion before the war started. And they've got new markets, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, the UAE, and Egypt. They're all buying, in addition to India, Pakistan, China, and Turkey. India, in fact, is now Russia's biggest customer. Russian exporters are often labeling their oil as coming from Iran or Venezuela to fool buyers who really don't want to support Russian oil exports. It's becoming a really big problem, and it's contributed to the fact that the euro has fallen 15% in the past year. It fell to a 20-year low in August, and now investors are saying it's going to fall in value even more. Most contracts in the options market are against the euro than at any time since the start of the pandemic back in March of 2020. In other words, most investors are betting that the euro is going to fall even further than where it is now. And this is all because of the energy problem, which is sharply contributing to the inflation problem. In Europe, the euro inflation is running at 9%. So what are the countries around the world trying to do about it? Well, the G7 countries, these are the 7 biggest economies in the world. These G7 countries have all agreed to put a cap on the price they're willing to pay for Russian oil. The United States, Great Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Canada, and Japan have all said we're not going to pay beyond a certain amount. What was Russia's response to this? The Kremlin called this an absurd decision that would further destabilize the oil markets. In other words, the war that's going on is not merely devastating life in Ukraine, causing thousands of deaths, this war is rapidly becoming an economic war. And it's leading to policy changes here in America. The Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant in California, that power plant is scheduled to close in less than 3 years. But the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who has long supported the shutdown of this nuclear power plant, has changed his mind. He now wants it to keep operating for another decade, to 2035. Why? Because the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant provides 9% of California's energy and 17% of its green energy. So basically, the governor is forced to acknowledge if we want to keep providing energy to Californians, we're going to have to continue tolerating nuclear power, which is, by the way, a green energy. Well, for as long as it doesn't blow up anyway. California is also giving $1,000 to everybody in the state who doesn't own a car. If you're making up to $40,000 a year, $60,000 if you're married, they are going to give you $1,000. Their way of saying, we're going to reward you for not owning a car and therefore not contributing to CO2 emissions. It will also support the use of public transportation and so on. So we're finding states here in the U.S. taking decisive action because of the energy crisis, all of which has been instigated by the war in Ukraine by Russia. The situation is bad, likely to get worse before it gets better. You need to be willing to tolerate this uncertainty and volatility, which is likely to be with us for quite some time before it all gets resolved. And that means you need to be looking for the long term, focusing on the long-term results, because the next months, perhaps quarters, even a couple of years, could be rather dicey indeed. And that's the truth about your future. You know, you might be wondering, with all of the volatility that has occurred in the world of crypto over the past 9 or 10 months, what's going on with crypto? Well, we're seeing continued mainstreaming of this new asset class. Schwab has launched its first crypto ETF, the Schwab Crypto Thematic Index ETF, with the lowest annual cost of any ETF in the crypto space. The ticker symbol is STCE. And it owns securities that have a stake in the crypto marketplace. Meanwhile, BlackRock, the world's largest money manager, has launched a Bitcoin private trust for its institutional investors. And in the United Kingdom, one of its largest money managers has embraced crypto, investing in a regulated digital assets exchange. Back here in the U.S., Bank of New York Mellon and Goldman Sachs have executed the first security lending deal using a blockchain platform. Hundreds of millions of dollars have moved between the two Wall Street firms using blockchain technology. And Brevin Howard Asset Management, a $23 billion hedge fund headed by Alan Howard, well, he's now big into crypto. The Financial Times has compiled a list of 43 investments he owns in crypto companies. When billionaires demonstrate their interest in crypto, non-billionaires might want to pay attention. And guess who has launched an NFT collection? The car company Kia. They've launched 10,100 NFTs. And they're not the only car company to have done that. Lamborghini, Mercedes, Chevrolet, Hyundai, Porsche, Bentley, all of them have launched NFTs. At Alfa Romeo, if you buy a car, you get an NFT. It records the vehicle's data and serves as proof that you've maintained the car properly, which improves its value. And Time Magazine is now selling timepieces. The magazine is 99 years old. That's an awful lot of magazine covers, and that's what their NFTs are. These timepieces NFTs are old covers of Time magazine. 20,000 of them they've issued. They've already generated a $10 million profit and have given 600,000 of it to charities. By the way, you can now subscribe to Time magazine with any one of 33 different digital assets. And Tiffany is also selling NFTs, 250 of them. And they're selling these NFTs for $50,000 a piece. It's not a real diamond necklace. It's an image of a diamond. No doubt about it, crypto is mainstream. You're listening to The Truth About Your Future. Hey, I really want to help you get a deep dive into the key personal finance topics that matter most. So this year, I'm teaching 4 master classes, and you can watch all 4 of them for free. The first master class, The Truth About Crypto. Now, here's my new class, Financial Planning in the Age of Longevity. It's online. It's free. Sign up now. You'll discover why, if you're alive in 2030, you'll likely live to age 100 and beyond. Will your money last as long as you do? My new masterclass teaches you how to handle college and career, homeownership, long-term care, estate planning, and of course, your investment strategy. Register now for free at thetruthayf.com. That's thetruthayf.com. When we come back, one of the hottest investments of the year and why you probably shouldn't be buying it. Stay with us.
Midterm elections are just around the corner, and you might have questions like, what should I be doing with my money now? Or, what could happen in the stock market if my side doesn't win? Join Edelman Financial Engines on Tuesday, October 11th at 2 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern for our brand new webinar, The Elections in Your Portfolio, Separating Fact from Fiction. You can register now at efewebinar.com. You'll learn how the midterm election results can impact the stock market based on decades of market data. And you'll learn how to help position your portfolio for the elections and beyond. Don't miss this important and timely webinar. Join us for The Elections and Your Portfolio, Separating Fact from Fiction, on Tuesday, October 11th at 2 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. There's no cost to attend and no obligation. Register now at efewebinar.com. That's efewebinar.com. Edelman Financial Engines. From here forward.
You're listening to The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman. Thanks for listening to today's show, and thanks to Bitwise Asset Management for being our sponsor. Rick asked Bitwise to support the show because Bitwise has just one mission: to help you understand and access the opportunities in crypto. As crypto continues to grow in scale and complexity, a trusted guide is more important than ever. That's why Bitwise has built a nationwide team of crypto experts to help you. So take advantage of Bitwise's team. They work closely with financial advisors, institutions, and individual investors just like you. Talk to a Bitwise expert today or sharpen your crypto knowledge with Bitwise's awesome library of content. You'll find great help whether you're a crypto beginner or a financial professional. Crypto has major risks to consider, including the loss of your entire investment. So before investing in crypto funds, visit bitwiseinvestments.com for their library of content and to learn about the risks with these investments. That's bitwiseinvestments.com.
What do all the greatest innovations have in common? Agents of innovation. Ordinary people who shape the future by putting their money behind the right ideas. Invesco QQQ is a fund that allows you access to innovators of the NASDAQ 100. So you don't have to be an inventor to help create what's next to come. Be an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ. Learn more at Invesco.com/QQQ. There are risks when investing in ETFs, including possible loss of money. ETFs' risks are similar to those of stocks. Investments in the tech sector are subject to greater risk and more volatility than more diversified investments. The NASDAQ 100 Index comprises the 100 largest non-financial companies on the NASDAQ. You can't invest directly into an index. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in the prospectus at Invesco.com. Invesco Distributors, Inc.
You're listening to The Truth About Your Future. I mentioned on a previous program that one of the most popular investment products out in the marketplace today are annuities. They've hit a new record. $74 billion have been invested in these things in just the last 3 months. Why are so many people throwing so much money at annuities? Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Annuities offer a guaranteed return. Compare that to the stock market, which not only isn't guaranteed, has been losing double digits this year. Bonds are down double digits this year. Crypto is down double digits this year. Real estate is beginning to fall in value. So increasingly, investors want a safe, guaranteed return, and they're turning to annuities to get them. New York Life, for example, they're the biggest seller of annuities in the country. They offer an annuity that's paying 3.2% guaranteed for 3 years. That's a better return than you're going to get into a bank account for sure. And it's guaranteed by New York Life, which is a pretty good guarantee, frankly. Although the guarantee's technically only as good as New York Life. If they go broke, the guarantee's worthless. I don't think anybody's worried that New York Life, a 100-year-old company, is going to go broke in any foreseeable future. So, wow, guaranteed 3.2% per year. Guaranteed for 3 years. Here's the problem. If you buy that annuity, now I'm not beating up New York Life specifically here, but just annuities in general. If you buy an annuity with a guaranteed 3.2% rate of return, you are guaranteeing that you're losing money. Think about it. Inflation right now is 10% this year. If the annuity's offering 3%, you're losing 7% a year. Guaranteed. This is why I am so concerned that so many people who so focus on current levels of safety end up with the biggest losses. Because if you throw your money into a bank account or a treasury or an annuity or a guaranteed bond in an effort to obtain safety, well, congratulations. You're guaranteeing that you're going broke safely. In this case, you're losing almost 7% this year. That's the issue. You also have to recognize in the world of annuities that they are designed as retirement vehicles, meaning once you put your money into an annuity, the IRS says you can't take it out until you're 59 and a half. If you do, you're going to pay an IRS penalty in addition to the interest. And New York Life has a penalty as well. When you put money into that annuity, they won't let you withdraw it for 7 years. There's a surrender charge of 7% if you withdraw it in the first year. And that surrender charge lasts for years, even beyond the guaranteed 3 years of that 3.2% interest, which means at the end of 3 years, they may lower that guarantee of 3.2 to a lower number. You're stuck with it because if you liquidate it, you'll pay a surrender penalty and maybe an IRS penalty on top of that. Before you buy an annuity, make sure you get good advice from a financial advisor. Naturally, I'd recommend the advisors at Edelman Financial Engines. You're listening to The Truth About Your Future. There's something going on right now in crypto, and it's the biggest thing since the creation of crypto 13 years ago. It's called the merge. It's got everybody in the crypto community really excited. So here's the deal. You know the two largest coins, Bitcoin, of course, the very first one, and Ethereum. Between the two of them, they've got about 70% of the market share. They're the Coke and Pepsi of crypto. And you've heard of crypto mining. That's how new Bitcoin are created. That's how new Ethereum are created. Mining gets a lot of criticism because it uses millions of computers around the world to do complex calculations to mine Bitcoin and Ethereum. All that computer energy produces a lot of CO2. And that's why you've heard that Bitcoin's bad for the planet. Ethereum does the same thing. It's bad for the planet too. But now we have the merge. With the merge, Ethereum is moving to a different blockchain platform. Instead of doing mining to create more coins, it's doing something different called staking. I'm not going to bother explaining the difference between mining and staking here. It takes about a chapter. Yeah. And that's where you'll find that chapter in my new #1 bestseller, The Truth About Crypto, if you want to learn the difference between mining and staking. But the point is this. Staking as a technology uses less energy than mining. How much less? Get this. 99.95% less. That's astonishing. So all the concern that people have about crypto being bad for the planet, that's only true for mining. It's not true for staking. And not only that, not only does it solve the energy problem, but one of the byproducts of this is that staking allows you to generate income at the same time you're producing more coins. Now you begin to get an understanding as to why everybody is so excited about the merge. But this is like talking shop. You don't have to worry about the details of all this. The point is this. You shouldn't have to pay close attention to crypto on a day-to-day basis. This is why everyone is so excited about the merge. It's the biggest thing in crypto since the launch of Bitcoin 13 years ago. You've probably never even heard of the merge, however, and frankly, nor should you have. You shouldn't have to pay close attention to crypto on a day-to-day basis. That's no fun. You don't have the time for it anyway. You don't pay attention to the stock market every day. Why should you pay attention to the crypto market every day? That's why so many financial advisors tell their clients to use funds. Let professional money managers manage your investments for you. You use stock funds for your stock portfolio. You should use crypto funds for your crypto exposure. That's why I invest in funds from Bitwise Asset Management. In fact, it's also why I invested in the company. They're the oldest crypto fund manager. More than 1,000 financial advisors across the country have put clients' assets into their funds, and that includes Gene and me. So I invite you to learn more about the merge and more about the funds that are offered by Bitwise. So you can go to bitwiseinvestments.com or talk to your financial advisor. You know, if you miss part of the show, you can hear and watch the videocast at thetruth.ayf.com. You'll find articles and everything from NFTs to Bitcoin backwardation. It's all free, and it's all available to you at thetruth.ayf.com. That's thetruth.ayf.com. Stay with us for more here on The Truth About Your Future.
The Truth About Your Future is sponsored by Global X ETFs. You tune in every week to hear Rick Edelman tackle the personal finance topics that matter most to investors. And this year, what matters most is market volatility, stubbornly high inflation, and rising interest rates. It's been a lot to grapple with. At Global X ETFs, our income-oriented strategies can be an appealing way to help you position your portfolio during this period of uncertainty and volatility. Our approach goes beyond bonds and traditional fixed income investments. We focus instead on asset classes that offer you income-producing potential that you may not have considered, including MLPs from the energy sector, real estate investment trusts, preferred stocks, covered call strategies, and dividend-paying stocks. We've been providing investors like you with income-oriented investments like these for more than a decade through both bull and bear markets. Come, explore our full range of ETFs and look at our research and more at globalxetfs.com or talk with your financial advisor. Global X ETFs.
Meet Schwab Intelligent Income, a simple, modern way to pay yourself from your portfolio. Overcome the complexity of income needs in retirement with automated tax-smart withdrawals that you can start, stop, or adjust at any time without penalty. Plus ongoing monitoring, so you'll always know where you stand. And since lower fees means more money for you to invest, you pay no advisory fee. Available with Schwab Intelligent Portfolios. Visit schwab.com/intelligent income, a modern approach to wealth management.
You're listening to The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman, sponsored by Choice. If you want more control over how you invest your money, you need to check out Choice. Choice makes it easy for you to invest in Bitcoin and other crypto assets in your retirement account. You can transfer your existing IRA, roll over an old 401k, or start fresh with a new investment. There are no hidden fees or account minimums, just more choice in how you invest your money. You can open a deductible or Roth IRA and invest in Bitcoin, crypto, stocks, ETFs, gold, real estate, and more, all in a single account. Don't let your old bank or brokerage firm limit what you're allowed to invest in. Do what Rick did and take control of your future by heading on over to retirewithchoice.com/Rick. That's retirewithchoice.com/Rick, or simply search Choice IRA in the App Store or Google Play Store on your iPhone or Android device. It's your money. It should be your choice. retirewithchoice.com/Rick.
You're listening to The Truth About Your Future. One of the most important subjects we cover here on this program is Alzheimer's. And so I'm happy to welcome onto the program Dr. Catherine Madison. She is consulting neurologist at Jewish Family and Children's Services and chief neurologist at the Preventive Medicine Research Institute. On top of this, she maintains a small private practice assisting families with the challenges of dementia. Dr. Madison, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's an important topic.
One of the most confusing elements, I think, is the most fundamental for most of us consumers. We sometimes talk about Alzheimer's disease and sometimes we talk about dementia. Are they the same thing? Are they different?
I think that's a really, really good question to start with, because you're right. As a neurologist over the years, I've always been surprised when families will, if I tell them they have like a vascular dementia, and they'll say, oh, well, thank goodness it isn't Alzheimer's. And so it's important to understand the basics here. A dementia is a neurodegenerative illness that is spread through the brain and compromised cognitive abilities such that an individual can no longer perform their normal daily activities and routines.
So the fact that you have dementia instead of Alzheimer's isn't necessarily a relief.
No, not at all. And when I say cognitive skills, I want to explain that if I can, and that's
sure.
Everything ranging from how we understand and use language to how we make comparisons, form solutions, as well as how we regulate our emotional responses.
And let's put that into the context of financial future, since this is a personal finance show. Do early signs of dementia or Alzheimer's, are they noticeable in terms of financial behavior?
There was a study, which was out of Johns Hopkins University, where they looked at credit scores and dementia in a nationwide sample of over 80,000 adults over the age of 65. About 27,000 received a diagnosis of dementia between 1999 and 2018. Those who developed dementia were at a higher risk of payment delinquency starting 6 years prior to diagnosis than those who didn't develop a dementia.
Wow. That would certainly argue that you need to be paying attention to your parents, to your spouse. And if you're beginning to notice unusual behavior such as failure to pay bills, not reconciling bank accounts, erratic trading with investments perhaps, that you might need to consider this as a clinical issue and not merely a quirk. And what should you do if you suspect that there's something that might be signaling a problem here?
Well, it can be hard sometimes getting someone in for a diagnosis. A family member or friend may suspect there's a problem, but the person themselves is like, oh, no, that's not an issue at all. No, I'm aware of those bills and, I'm taking care of that. And so a very important concept to understand is that as we have changes in our brain, our ability to reflect on our own brains can become impaired. And the person who we love, who we're seeing a problem with, may not simply be denying the issue. They may not actually be able to see it. So there's a medical term for this called anosognosia. Fancy word, but anosognosia is loss of insight into our own problems or deficits, and it's based on physiologic changes in the brain. So it's really important to recognize with a friend or a family member, no, they're not ignoring it. They may not be able to see it. And that affects how we approach them and how we can work with them.
What do you do? How do you respond if mom or dad or your spouse not merely refuse to believe it, but they're incapable of acknowledging what's happening? What can you do?
Well, there's a couple different ways to approach it. With couples, I often suggest that they approach it as a team. I have had instances where a husband knew that his wife had a problem, and so he suggested that they both get an evaluation. And that's fine for normal people, 65 years and older, to go ahead and get a baseline neuropsychiatric or cognitive evaluation to serve as a benchmark for comparison with later. So try to take the spotlight away from the person who's having problems and see if you can more normalize it as something that we can all face with aging and get as much information as possible to help everybody with their planning.
If there is a test result that comes back that suggests that there's an issue, what do you do then?
Well, it's kind of a complicated question there, Rick. I mean, you should be going over results and a diagnosis with a clinician. You should work with your primary provider or with a neurologist. If there's a problem, what do we do about this? What are medications? What are steps we should take? Are there research trials we can get involved in? And so the conversation should start there with the provider.
Is there anyone that a concerned family member can reach out to for help before they were to go through the effort to complete a formal evaluation?
Probably the most valuable resource is a helpline run by the Alzheimer's Association, 1-800-272-3900. And you can actually get a live trained professional on the phone 24/7 who can give you advice about support groups, classes, online tools, day-to-day problems. What you're talking about is someone to try and help you get your friend or your loved one in for an evaluation. And people on that helpline may be able to give you some guidance with that as well. I also work with a wonderful organization called Seniors at Home, which is part of the Jewish Family and Children's Services. And they offer everything from support and management in the home to fiduciary services and a whole lot more. Talking with people in the dementia community can sometimes help you figure out strategies.
And I think if nothing else, it helps you realize you're not alone in this. You know, there are 6 million Alzheimer's patients in this country, in addition to those with dementia. And too often, I think when we find ourselves dealing with a challenging situation, we tend to retract. We tend to pull back from society and from community, and we try to deal with it all by ourselves. And to know that there are others who have been where you're going can really be very helpful and help you realize you don't have to go it alone. I think if nothing else, that phone call can provide you that level of reassurance and make it easier to deal with what you're confronted with.
Absolutely. And I think the reason friends and family are so hesitant to bring up the possibility that this is a diagnosis is because they are terrified for themselves as well. They're terrified how it's going to affect their whole life. But ignoring it is never going to make it better. And as scary as it is to search out an evaluation and find some truth here, it's better for everybody to help with their planning. And so this is not an easy conversation. So there's a couple ways that you can talk about it. And the one that I like to suggest the most is actually a card game. So there is a card game called Go Wish. This was developed by a local group called the Coda Alliance. There's 36 cards. And each one of the cards has a statement on it. And those statements are what you might consider to be the most important thing to you later in your life and at the end of your life. It ranges in everything from, I don't want to be short of breath. I want to make sure that there is no conflict in my family. I want to be surrounded by my family and friends, or I want to be alone. So you get this deck of cards. It's available in multiple languages. And you literally sit around the dinner table and everybody gets a deck and you sort the cards into 3 different piles. What's the most important to you? What's, of medium importance to you? And what is in the discard pile? Then you take that most important pile and you pick out the top 10. And then you can discuss that with each other, because it's interesting, the similarities and the contrasts that you might find in people's choices. And I love just getting this out on the dinner table. My kids have told me over the years, Mom, not everybody is as comfortable as you are with talking death over dinner. But it's a good thing to do. And the cards can actually be fun. So I think that's a great way to have the topic started.
And is CODA a nonprofit organization?
Yes, it is. Indeed.
Well, that is very helpful information. I really appreciate your sharing this with us today. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
And thank you, Rick. And thank you for everything else you do with helping people plan about their future.
That was Dr. Catherine Madison, Chief Neurologist at the Preventive Medicine Research Institute. And if you would like to learn more about the card game she mentioned, Go Wish, it's available from thecodaalliance.org. It sells for $26. Dr. Madison and I chatted for almost 20 minutes. If you would like to listen, watch, or read the entire conversation, just go to thetruth.ayf.com. A new book review is out, the top 5 crypto books to read in 2022, and The Truth About Crypto is one of the 5. The review wrote, "The Truth About Crypto is fun to read, easy to comprehend, with the prophetic insights you'd expect from one of the most acclaimed financial consultants. Most importantly, the book gives readers the sound, practical guidance we all need to prosper with this new asset class. Best of all, Edelman demonstrates how blockchain works, the distinction between digital currency and digital assets, and a thorough examination of every facet of the industry. If you want to be an investor today, this book is a must-read." I'm really excited about that review, and I encourage you to get your copy of The Truth About Crypto. Stay with us for more here on The Truth About Your Future.
Midterm elections are just around the corner, and you might have questions like, what should I be doing with my money now? Or, what could happen in the stock market if my side doesn't win? Join Edelman Financial Engines on Tuesday, October 11th at 2 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern for our brand new webinar, The Elections in Your Portfolio, Separating Fact from Fiction. You can register now at efewebinar.com. You'll learn how the midterm election results can impact the stock market based on decades of market data. And you'll learn how to help position your portfolio for the elections and beyond. Don't miss this important and timely webinar. Join us for The Elections and Your Portfolio, Separating Fact from Fiction, on Tuesday, October 11th at 2 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. There's no cost to attend and no obligation. Register now at efewebinar.com. That's efewebinar.com. Edelman Financial Engines. From here forward.
You're listening to The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman. Thanks for listening to today's show, and thanks to Bitwise Asset Management for being our sponsor. Rick asked Bitwise to support the show because Bitwise has just one mission: to help you understand and access the opportunities in crypto. As crypto continues to grow in scale and complexity, a trusted guide is more important than ever. That's why Bitwise has built a nationwide team of crypto experts to help you. So take advantage of Bitwise's team. They work closely with financial advisors, institutions, and individual investors just like you. Talk to a Bitwise expert today or sharpen your crypto knowledge with Bitwise's awesome library of content. You'll find great help whether you're a crypto beginner or a financial professional. Crypto has major risks to consider, including the loss of your entire investment. So before investing in crypto funds, visit bitwiseinvestments.com for their library of content and to learn about the risks with these investments. That's bitwiseinvestments.com.
Allow us to introduce you to Tom, an ordinary person who helped shape the future by putting his money behind the right ideas. Tom enjoys tending to his tomato garden and is currently developing the perfect blend for his homemade spaghetti sauce. Tom is also accessing companies that help change the course of the aerospace industry by investing in Invesco QQQ. Invesco QQQ is a fund that allows you access to innovators of the NASDAQ 100, which goes to show you don't have to be a rocket scientist to help push progress forward. Become an agent of innovation. Learn more at Invesco.com/QQQ. There are risks when investing in ETFs, including possible loss of money. ETFs' risks are similar to those of stocks. Investments in the tech sector are subject to greater risk and more volatility than more diversified investments. The NASDAQ 100 index comprises the 100 largest non-financial companies on the NASDAQ. You can't invest directly into an index. Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit Invesco.com for a prospectus with this information. Read it carefully before investing.
Welcome back to The Truth About Your Future. You know, amidst all the turmoil and uncertainty and volatility that we're experiencing in this economic environment, it's good to be looking to the future, to seeing where technological innovation is going to be taking us, providing some really exciting opportunities. There's a new computer program called Voyager, and it performed in a concert in New York City this summer. Technology entering the arts. You know, right now, 2/3 of people worldwide do not have access to MRI machines. These are incredibly important diagnostic tools in the field of healthcare, but they cost $3 million a piece. And they need a special room to shield the scanner from outside signals and to contain the magnetic fields that it generates. Now, there's a low-cost alternative. It only costs $20,000, and it produces images that are good enough for most ailments, making MRI technology available to people on a worldwide basis. This will improve the healthcare for billions of people on the planet. Scientists at Cambridge and Caltech have created synthetic mouse embryos with growing brains and beating hearts, and these embryos were produced without sperm or eggs. Truly artificial. They hope to extend their work to human development, and that raises far more questions than we can begin to tackle here. Scientists have suspended tiny glass spheres in a vacuum and made them interact with one another. This is a major advance in probing the everyday world of quantum physics, which governs objects at the atomic scale. If we're able to get atoms to interact with each other at the atomic level, we can radically change virtually every aspect of life on the planet. Researchers in Japan are testing whether reprogrammed stem cells can repair diseased organs. This could provide radical benefit for people who have failing kidneys or livers or other organs and a huge shortage of donors to provide replacements. Repairing the diseased organs by reprogramming our stem cells could be a faster, cheaper, and safer way to cure disease. Kidney disease affects 15% of adults, and we don't have enough kidneys to meet demand for transplants. Well, there's now a partnership between the Department of Health and Human Services and the American Society of Nephrology. They've created an artificial kidney. It allows patients to skip dialysis, and research on this artificial kidney and human trials are underway. The future can be pretty exciting. We just need to stay focused on it. Time now for everybody's favorite segment of the program, Visit by my wife, Jean Edelman. Jean is a student of the healing arts, Reiki, traditional Chinese medicine, homeopathy, acupuncture, and of course, macrobiotic and plant-based cooking. Here's Jean.
Great to be with you this week. I hope you're having a wonderful week. This is an interesting word for the week. The word is end. It's a very final word. It could be the end of a career, a relationship, a project, the end of our favorite movie or a book, the end of a life. But what if we could see the end as an opportunity for a beginning? They say that when one door closes, another opens. Many of us have left jobs or careers and have begun something new that actually was more fun and wonderful and fulfilling. And so the end of something became something wonderful. Perhaps a relationship. Perhaps the second time around you find your soulmate that you're meant to be with. When it comes to a life, that is where we get stuck. Because I think that we think that this earth is the only game in town. Based on our beliefs, there is a greater life beyond this veil. We want to believe, and I've talked about this before, that our loved ones are in a better place, and that we want to believe that they know that we are thinking of them. As I've said here on Earth School, it's hard, but there must be something better. The goal with the end and the end of a life, because we've all experienced this, is to go with grace and dignity and being surrounded by those that we love if that is possible. We've all experienced this loss. It hurts And life is very wobbly as we find our way without our loved ones. And it just doesn't feel right because that word end, it feels so final. But it can be a beginning, an understanding, feeling those that have gone before us, feeling them around us, understanding that when that job ends, that there's something greater, understanding when that relationship ends, that there's something better out there for us. And so the end can be a beginning. And I want us to hold on to that because when we get stuck in this word end, we're just locked down, and that's not the end. It is a beginning, a wonderful, wonderful beginning. And so the action item this week is just to think about what are pieces of our life that have ended, and are we stuck somewhere there? And how can we sit with that and start to move on? Can we start writing down what are some of the new things that we want to do? Because when we were doing whatever this was, we couldn't do it. But now we have this opportunity because we have a beginning, a new beginning. That's the action item for the week. And so my word of the week is begin. The B is for best life ever. Now, we all have expiration dates. It's okay, but the goal is to live our best life ever. Know ourselves. That's the goal. Work with our 6 pillars of health and self-care. Know ourselves. Manage our health. Manage our emotions. Love everybody and don't take anything for granted. The E is for eternal. We are eternal souls. We are around even if we're not around. When we're gone, somebody will think of us and we'll just be in this eternal world. We'll just be there and sending love both sides. It goes both ways. It's a wonderful, wonderful world because we're souls and we continue to live on in each other's minds and hearts. The G is for gifts, the gifts of these precious moments, the kind words that we give each other, and that love and support. The I is for insight and intuition. Find the quiet, listen, that deep down knowing that we have the answers if we just listen. And the N is for notice, to be present in our day. Notice the people around us, notice the nature. Take in our world. If we find the quiet and we notice, the beauty will be revealed to us. So stop and take the time. The end is a beautiful beginning. No matter how you cut it, stop the loop, find the beautiful, find the new. That's what we want for each other, to have a happy, fulfilling, best life ever. Have a great week, everybody.
That's my wife, Jean Edelman, here on The Truth About Your Future. And you can actually watch Jean's Word of the Week. Watch the video at thetruthayf.com.
When I reach the other side, west of where the sun sets, where rainbows never die.
The Truth About Your Future is sponsored by Global X ETFs. You tune in every week to hear Rick Edelman tackle the personal finance topics that matter most to investors. And this year, what matters most is market volatility, stubbornly high inflation, and rising interest rates. It's been a lot to grapple with. At Global X ETFs, our income-oriented strategies can be an appealing way to help you position your portfolio during this period of uncertainty and volatility. Our approach goes beyond bonds and traditional fixed income investments. We focus instead on asset classes that offer you income-producing potential that you may not have considered, including MLPs from the energy sector, real estate investment trusts, preferred stocks, covered call strategies, and dividend-paying stocks. We've been providing investors like you with income-oriented investments like these for more than a decade through both bull and bear markets. Come, explore our full range of ETFs and look at our research and more at globalxetfs.com or talk with your financial advisor. Global X ETFs.
Did you know Schwab offers a satisfaction guarantee? If for any reason you're not completely satisfied, Schwab will refund your fee or commission and work with you to make things right. You won't find that kind of promise everywhere, but you will find it at Schwab. It's just another way that they put clients' interest at the heart of everything they do. Learn what's included and how it works at schwab.com/satisfaction. That's schwab.com/satisfaction.
Well, that's all the time we've got on The Truth About Your Future this weekend. Remember, sign up for my new master class, Financial Planning in the Age of Longevity. You'll discover the truth about your future, how to handle college and career, homeownership, long-term care, estate planning, and of course, your investments. Financial Planning in the Age of Longevity. Sign up now at thetruthayf.com. That's thetruthayf.com. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
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 I'm sorry, what? What part didn't you understand? The buh or the bye? Bye-bye.
The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman has been brought to you by Global X ETFs, dedicated to providing investors with unexplored and intelligent solutions. And by Bitwise, a trusted guide in crypto has never mattered more. Connect with their dedicated team of crypto experts nationwide at bitwiseinvestments.com. And by Invesco QQQ, a fund that allows you to access the innovators of the NASDAQ 100. Invesco.com. Stay tuned for Everyday Wealth with Soledad O'Brien and Gene Chatsky from Edelman Financial Engines. Everydaywealth.com/radio. EFE and The Truth About Your Future with Rick Edelman are unaffiliated entities.
Get the truth about your future every weekend with Rick Edelman. It's thetruthayf.com.